There was some debate about flares or stones earlier, but
Both.
we're going to leave. Yeah, both. We're going to leave that there. We're going to go back to the studio.
Thank you, and I'm here now with Max Stafford, who's running for Raising and Giving Officer. Before we hear from him, let's listen to what Raising and Giving Officer does.
RAG, Raising and Giving Officer, develops fundraising opportunities for students. The RAG officers cover some of USU's biggest events. From raising money in freshers to hosting and organising RAG Week, they are dedicated to ensuring that our RAG charities receive funds that keep their services alive.
Okay, so Max, in your manifesto you mention that you're the current Raising and Giving and Volunteering Officer at James College. How did you first get involved at James College, and what has driven you to run for the same position for the entire university?
So I didn't start out as the RAG and Volunteering Officer at James College. I was actually originally an events officer. So that's taught me lots about how events ran. I quite enjoyed that role. But then the previous RAG and Volunteering Officer unfortunately dropped out from university, so the position became available. So it was sort of a matter of, so who would like this role then? So then I thought, I'm quite enjoying events officer, but try RAG as well, because I had experience in charity shops and things like that, so I thought this might be my sort of thing I'm interested in. So then I went for the role, and then since November, I've been having a great time. Really enjoyed it. Been raising lots of money for our fantastic partner charity Survive. I think it's great. I'm really enjoying it, so I thought we'd carry on with it. Yeah.
Brilliant. So what has your position at James College taught you, and what do you hope to take from it going forward to being the RAG officer of the entire university if you are to win?
So obviously being a RAG officer, it involves lots of communication with charities. So I've started a dialogue with our charity organisation Survive, having a great meeting with them, having another meeting next week, lots of liaising with charities, which I think is really important, because obviously taking it from one charity to multiple charities across the university, that's a really important transferable skill. And also putting on events. So I'm using my skills I learned as the events officer for James to try and make some more RAG events and then raise lots of money for our charities. And I think there's a lot of overlap between the two positions. I think I'm quite qualified for both of them.
So obviously you've got a candidate running against you in this election. What do you think makes you stand out from them?
So the candidate I'm running against is currently on the USU committee. I'm not. I'm only part of the James committee. But then this makes me an outsider. So I can see from the outside perspective what USU is doing well and what they're doing wrong. So a lot of the things that I would implement, I couldn't have implemented yet, but my opponent could have done, because she's been on the committee for a year now. But then when I join the committee, I can implement these things. And I think the experience I've taken from seeing from an outside perspective what USU can improve on, I think I can take into this role and really improve how RAG is done at York.
Brilliant. And in your manifesto you stress, and this is a direct quote, greater transparency on what money raised by RAG activities is spent on by the university and college charities, end quote. How would this be done, and furthermore, would greater transparency lead to more opportunities for both charities and the university?
So I think transparency when it comes to USU, it's such a buzzword. I think you're probably the only candidate that mentions transparency by any stretch. But I think in the context of charities, it's really important, because a lot of the way the RAG system works here is we'll raise money for these charities and it goes through a bunch of USU accounts and ends up at the charity. But when it gets to the charity, we largely don't have, apart from their general aims, much idea with what they do with it. So I'm trying to start this dialogue with our partner organisation. It's going quite well. So I'm knowing what they're spending money on, such as training members of staff in sexual assault training or things to counselling services. And I think if we stretch this out to all charities we work with, we could advertise this through the USU Facebook pages, the RAG Facebook pages as well on the website. And I think if we share this information, people seeing, oh, we donated X amount of money to this charity is one thing. If they say, and they use this money to train 5 counsellors in sexual assault recovery or whatever, I think people will see that and connect with it so much more. And I think it'll help us not only work closer with charity partners, but it'll also help us raise more money in the future for fantastic causes such as this, because I think people really connect with it.
Brilliant. And you mentioned that you want a RAG and Volunteering York Award equivalent to recognise achievements of students. How important is this to you, and how will you achieve it?
So I think one of the problems with RAG at the moment is you can do as much as you can. You can raise plenty of money for the university, but it's difficult to get recognition for your achievements.
I'm sorry, can I just finish with summarising your campaign in one sentence?
So raising more money and improving handbags at York.
Max is running against Rebecca Wilcoxon, and that is the end of our first Raising and Giving debate. Thank you for joining me.
And we will see the other candidate to that role later.